What's up, guys? My name is Mario.
My name is Sylvia.
My name is Pao.
My name is Jesus.
Welcome back
to another Vive con Huevos podcast. Fucking so far.
Yeah. Today we gotta be the sound effects
we're
today.
our own buttons today.
On the Julia Roberts.
Guys, as you can see, we
It's the red
have
velvet cake.
a little bit. Oh, did you try it?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good.
Right?
Obviously.
It's funny. So, Pao went to go celebrate her birthday with the girls, and that same day, I went to where the crumble cookie establishment is, and they had a sale, the 6 for $4.
Oh shit.
And I was like,
her wet dream.
yeah. So I was like, I might just fuck. I might just fuck. We haven't gotten crumble cookies since like Valentine's Day. I was like, I might just fuck around and get to the box of 6, but something told me not to do it. And then
I saw that box downstairs.
It was from yesterday.
Okay.
For the girls.
So she went with the girls, and the girls got her the box of 6. And I'm so glad I didn't. Like, imagine we would have had 12 crumble cookies.
It's
Just
fine. You could have
I
shared
see
it today.
nothing wrong. I see nothing wrong with 12 cookies in my house.
oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
One cookie is like 10,000.
I know. That's why I eat
calories.
a quarter of a cookie.
So much sugar in those cookies.
Aparte.
Somebody like poured out in cups
know.
like how much, and I was like,
Well, you know that like
I still eat.
a full
them,
cookie
but-
is 4 servings. Like you're supposed to eat a quarter of a cookie, and that's a
bullshit.
serving. I know it's wild.
They even have the
It's
little.
weird.
They
The
have
cutter.
little cutters.
I know.
Yeah.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, weird flex, but okay.
Like, who makes a cookie that good and makes it 4
I know.
servings?
So
That's kind
it's
of
healthier to eat. Well, not healthier, but it's better to eat a full thing of Oreos, like a full bag of it,
Actually,
And
I
a
don't
crumble
know.
cookie?
Oreo cookie, then one crumble cookie.
That's wild.
I
Don't
don't
tell
know.
Kelly that.
I'm just
He's
asking.
asking. I don't know.
That's all Kelly needs
I
to
actually
hear.
didn't know that Oreos were vegan.
They're vegan, yeah. Doesn't mean they're good for you, but they're vegan.
I
It's
support.
like hashtag health.
Health is well, part 3 for the big bags.
Oh my god.
I do have a curveball for you guys.
Oh god.
Okay.
This question was inspired by Jonah at the
Hey, Jonah.
Barbershop Confidential podcast, and his co-host, well, maybe co-host because he hasn't told me for sure.
What?
I
You're
forgot-
putting you signed an NDA, bro. Don't be telling
Oh
his
yeah, I forgot
business.
her name, Adlo, but shout out her and Jonah. They were talking about on their podcast about, well, you know how typically when you're in a relationship, you have your one hall pass, right? Your celebrity hall pass. Do you think if you have a one night stand with a celebrity, like A-list celebrity, do you think they would remember you?
Hell yeah.
I
Or do you think they would just be like, just another one in the
do.
bag?
No.
Nope.
Memorable.
That confidence is really coming early for our
That
season.
Aries energy.
We're approaching
It's
Aries
oozing.
season, okay?
It's bubbling. It's bubbling to the surface. I can feel it. It's hot.
I actually broke things off with my hall pass
No.
because she got engaged. So now I'm like looking for a new one.
Damn. Was
Wait,
that
who was your
Selena
hall
What's your
Gomez?
hall pass?
Selena
Come
Gomez.
on, guys.
Aw.
Wait, she's
You call
engaged?
yourself his best friend and you didn't know that?
She's engaged?
Yeah,
Bro.
yeah,
You know what's fucking nasty?
Benny
That
Blanco.
Blanco. I always say
Cute.
Benny Benassi, but it's
Yeah.
not Benny Benassi.
the
El otro.
The other Benny.
what he did for her for Valentine's Day, and he filled up the tub with
Oh, I didn't see that.
a bunch of nacho cheese.
What?
Yeah, it's fucking
Excuse me?
disgusting. You didn't see that?
No.
No.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't because I'm mad at her. So I kind of stopped looking at
I
things.
blocked her.
He blocked things.
Fuck that.
He cut things out.
Yeah,
no, I didn't see that.
so,
What did he do?
I
She
don't know
looked
if-
beautiful for the Grammys.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it. The Grams. I don't know if my
He's
girl.
like, yeah.
I didn't know if my hall pass was.
I thought you
invited.
blocked her, bro.
I didn't.
Who's your
I didn't say I
hall pass?
blocked her. I just don't pay attention as much.
I have a
Mario
list.
has too many hall passes.
I know. I was just going to say, I have a
There's
list.
a lot of them. I think top one would probably be Esther Exposito.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. She's pretty hot.
You know the worst part is that guy has curly hair and green eyes just like me.
Yeah.
So I
You
could.
could-
I just
yeah.
need the money.
You
and
just
I
gotta
could be
get in
there.
front of her, Jesus.
I just need the money and I can be there.
You don't need the money, bro. What you need is for this podcast to blow up, and then we can invite
Then
her
she'd be like that guy
for
from
an
Vive con
interview.
Huevos.
Yeah, the guy with the curly hair and the green eyes.
And then she'll remember me.
yeah.
There you
Because
go.
it reminds me of her
I'm
ex,
just
her fiance.
I'm doing this for you. This whole podcast is just so you can fuck Selena Gomez
So échale ganas, okay?
con huevos. No, but for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah. David Beckham would go wild.
Ooh. He's one of mine.
Who's your number one,
We're
Sylvia?
gonna give him that
There
hot
is
to
no
it.
number one.
Hot to it.
Hell yeah.
And anything else he wants.
That's my number one trick. I got those mitts that make me extra salivating and everything.
Does.
Sylvia did show us the exercise, not us, but I mean, pause. It's fucking hot. I'm always doing this shit.
No es cierto, no es cierto.
Are you
Oh my
intent on
God.
making me sweat? I mean, the first 10 minutes of every podcast.
Oh my God.
My list, I've got a lot of older daddies on mine. I've got Robert Downey Jr. because that man, he's got the presence. He's an Aries too.
Oh.
Fire daddy. Hugh Jackman is another one of mine, but only when he's yoked.
That's Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
I'll never
David
forget
Beckham
that one
for sure.
because of,
Because of
Kelly's
Kelly.
story.
Did you hear that story?
No.
We were watching the new Deadpool Wolverine, and he paused it, and he goes, "Do you think his arms are too big?" And before he even finished the sentence, I said, "No." So he's been hitting upper body ever since.
Kelly does arms, strictly
straight
arms.
He's the guy
He's about
that
to be the Dorito.
Yeah, he's about to be the guy that I hate at the gym.
Yeah.
Kelly, no. Kelly,
Who
no.
else? I feel like I had a few on my list. Jude Law. He's on my list.
We really are the same sometimes. Huh? I have the list just keeps I keep adding every day.
Mm-hmm. But they're all older. It's my daddy issues.
It's my daddy issues.
Yeah.
I need them ripe.
Was yours just Selena Gomez the whole time? I feel like
Yeah, and
ever
I've
since I've
betrayed.
known you, it's been Selena Gomez.
Yeah, it's true love.
Aww. Qué bonito.
That's honestly the only one. Maybe Emilia Clarke is the only one.
Well, you have her on your arm.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen?
You do?
Yeah.
You got that when we went to
Boom.
Madrid, yeah?
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Yeah,
Oh,
I've
that's
seen
right.
That
you
was his
did.
Madrid
I missed
tattoo.
out on paella for this.
Yeah, you did.
That
That
was
was
a
some good
bomb-ass
paella
paella.
too.
Yeah, those are the only two.
Oh.
And obviously just one now while I'm looking for my next one.
What
So
a
we'll see.
loyal gentleman.
I know.
Very loyal.
Yeah. I wish I had your willpower.
I'm like, let me take out the scroll.
I'm like embarrassed now when people ask me. It's like I don't know. I'm just going to say the one that Power
It's
no
like
really
that
likes.
episode of Friends, though, where they're like, you have to write like and then Ross organizes it by like geographical location and who's most likely to be there. That's me. Like I have to have a range,
Yeah.
just in case I come across them.
I think Power always gets stressed out though because mine are all like Guarita and like blonde.
At the beginning, yeah, when we were like first started dating and I realized who all his hall passes was, I was like, where? I was like, I mean, bro, like I'm not blonde.
Yeah.
I'm not. Well, Becky
Becky
G
G's
was
in
the
there.
only one, yeah. But other than that,
She
they
cute.
were all like
That's a good one.
She was
and
blonde at one point.
extremely
Like
petite.
super.
I was like, okay.
Teeny tiny, pocket sized.
You just carry them around. It's like, what's up?
Okay.
Eat them back in your pocket. Anyways, mental health, guys.
What we really came to talk about.
How are you guys? I feel like we haven't potted in forever.
Potted. I know. It's kind of been a tough
Yeah.
few months
Mhm.
now. I feel like that's why we've just been.
Life has been life. And
Yeah.
also, thank you guys for putting up with a 4-hour podcast last episode.
I know.
Oh, shit. I
Hope
forgot
you
to put
guys
on the
enjoyed
timer.
it. I think that was a great episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got some good feedback.
Well rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Puta
All
madre.
right. Mario's.
And
taking
hopefully
an
you guys are
intermission.
enjoying my little screensaver.
Oh yeah,
I made.
Jesus made we're making small changes. I hope now we have.
It bothers me because it never hits the corner.
And you, what was it? Something seconds. Jesus.
Don't say
Oh
it.
shit!
I was gonna offer something, but never mind.
Offer it.
What?
I was gonna say if you can let me know what second it lands on the corner, I'll send you something. But
Just
but
beep
it
out what he said.
Yeah, just bleep out what I
It's not
said.
like you don't edit this podcast, Jesus. Come on.
Editing skills, GB. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I'll talk about a little bit how the beginning of my year went. So I feel like I'm finally getting to like a good place in my mental health journey this year. The first few months were a little rough for me for sure. I don't know, there was just a lot going on and I was like really hard for me to kind of get out of like that. I wouldn't say like negative mindset because I wasn't being negative, but it was just like hard to be positive, you know?
Yeah.
And then I saw this like random video that said like once, I don't know, whatever happens with the moon, like everything's going to work out for Aries. And then all of a sudden in March, like my month just started getting way better, you know? So I was like, okay, it really is that Aries energy. We just needed
It's
like
in the sky.
yeah, it's all in the moon and the
It's all
stars.
in the stars.
But no, yeah, I feel like I'm finally like at a point where I'm like, okay, ready to have fun again. But first 2 months weren't very fun.
You know what happened? The time change happened, and there's a lot more sun now. And
Yeah.
Pal really does get like seasonally
I
depressed.
do too.
That's true. I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that this year.
I feel like it hit extra hard this year.
Yeah.
The first class I taught Monday morning after that time change on Sunday, I have never seen a room of individuals look so dead. Like they weren't giving me shit for fuck. I was like, "How we doing?" And they were like,
We're here.
"Yeah." I have never had to work that hard, and I felt it too because it was all day Sunday that I felt it. Then I went in Monday and I was like, "Damn, you guys felt it too, huh?"
There was a point. I don't know if this happened to you, Jesus. Even my dad, when we hung out with my dad one day, and it's like, you guys look tired.
Yeah. We walked in and he looked at me. He goes, "Te ves cansada." I was like, I am
Thanks.
cansada. I am
Starts crying.
I feel like what
that would've
happened
been
to
my
us
response.
too is we came back from Oaxaca, and Oaxaca at the time was 2 hours ahead.
Ooh, yeah.
Because of that time change, and I think that also really messed with us. My aura ring was crazy. My readiness score was so low for like it's still a little low. Like it's
Oh,
still kind of
shit.
like it's showing in like the mid 70s, and I'm normally like 80s, 90s, which was like a really like big thing to see for me. So I was like, I don't know. Part of me feels like because I'm looking at the app so much, even like I'm not letting myself rest because I want to rest.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it was definitely for sure. The first week was tough when we came back from Oaxaca, and it was just a time change and the time change from that. And yeah, it took a while to like fully recover. Even my mom and my personal trainer. My mom got mad at me the other day because I kept saying my personal trainer. And I was like, she's mine
yeah.
too. And I was like, okay.
At least she
Pisces.
listens.
Yeah, I know.
It's the Pisces energy.
Our personal trainer at one point was like, all right, we're gonna just take it a little slower today. And I was like, thanks, I really
Yeah.
appreciate that because we were struggling.
No, I felt it. The first week was horrible. Like I really, really felt it, and I don't remember feeling it that crazy in
Before.
the past.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Agreed. I also think it's like the energy, you know.
it was a heavy beginning of the year.
It was
The
But don't laugh at
fires,
me.
the presidency. Yeah, don't laugh. It's not. This is not a laughing matter.
So much happened, and I don't like. It feels like it was months
Damn,
ago, and it
that's
literally
true.
happened last
Celia's
month.
just over
2
here
months
like,
ago.
fuck you and your Scorpio energy, Mario.
Now that I know your chart, like, it's
I
your
know, I
fucking
feel like I just
Jupiter.
gave you-
I can feel it.
Sylvia officially knows how to read you.
Yeah, it's kind of scary now. I shouldn't have done that. Horrible move. Jesus has no idea what the fuck we're talking
No.
about.
No, just smiling. With
Smile away.
Started smiling my voice.
So there's a chart that like, you know how you have your zodiac signs, but it gets a lot more deeper than that. So it all depends on like the time of day you were born.
All right.
Yeah,
So-
sorry. You know what? Anyways, I'm gonna go get my water.
So, you know how there's the different signs,
yes.
and Paulina and I are both Aries.
Okay.
But there will be differences in our personality because it depends on where you were born and what time. Because at that specific time in that geographical location in that year, the stars were in a certain position above you that were not the same at the time and date that she was born. So even though we're both Aries, there's still other
factors
differences
involved.
from our planet was in this constellation, this planet was in this constellation, the moon was here. And so you have your rising, your star, your sun, and then all your planets and your houses. And so that's what like breaks down your different personality traits. So for me, I'm an Aries sun and moon. So I'm like all out the gate fire energy, but I'm a Taurus rising, which is an earth sign. So that's why I seem really chill, but I'm not. I seem
is
really
true.
grounded and cool and collected, but then I'm like crazy.
Until she's not.
Yeah. And then I have a ton of Pisces in my chart, which is a water sign, and they tend to be really emotional, which I also am. I cry for everything. So it's like all the little things that kind of break it down. So now I have his chart. He's got a fuck ton of Scorpio in there, lots of water. So he's just a big crybaby with a lot of intense energy.
This is true.
This is true though.
So
So I have
Like,
to look
make it
into
I'm
make
not
sense.
telling you anything you don't know. I don't know why you're mad.
She's
Because
just
you're using
pointing
it
it out
against
now.
me. You're using it against me and I hate it.
Nobody's using it against you. Just pointing it out. Okay.
I gotta put on the math.
And you
It's my
mentioned something
Scorpio.
about aura farming.
Aura for me.
Or
Aura ring?
Yeah.
My aura ring. No, but it's not like my aura.
Okay.
It's called an aura ring, but it's like one of those like
amazing.
like the Whoop, or like
Okay.
it just measures my sleep and stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like it tracked your mood and whatever.
Imagine.
your hair mood ring.
No, I used to
like
be.
the mood rings.
I
I
used to
used to
really
love those
like
things.
mood rings, and I was
Have you
little.
seen those people that take aura photographs?
Yes, I really want
I
to do
want
it.
to do that
Okay,
so
let's do it.
bad. Mine's like fire.
I know.
Well, I saw. I don't remember where I
Atomic bomb.
was. I think it was like a client's house, or I forgot what it was, or like on TikTok. I could have been getting confused. Remember how Kelly was talking about the whole music thing, the study he was doing that affects your mood? Well, there was, I think it was on TikTok. Anyways, whatever. The point is that there was artwork that someone was selling that what she does is she takes those prints of like, she puts on music for you and then she screenshots like the I don't know if they're like, they're not sound waves. What are they? It's like the, I don't even know how to explain it. You know, okay, it's gonna be funny.
They're like scanning your nerves
your
or whatever.
energy?
Yeah,
Your
but it's
energy?
like
Seeing
you
what's
know,
triggering.
Have you guys seen Ratatouille?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, you know that scene
Where it,
Remy,
like-
where
like
Remy
all the
eats the
explosions of
cheese.
flavor?
Yeah, so that's actually what your head does.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, and so
because
that
it fires different, and that's why, like, we all like different music because our brains respond
yes.
differently to music.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what that is called, but
House
she takes
plants,
screenshots of that.
like rock and roll.
Really?
Really?
Maybe I
Yes.
need to start playing more rock
Con
and roll. 'cause
razón,
my
todos
plants
se te
die.
mueren, nomás escuchan banda
Yeah,
and EDM.
I would die too.
She was like, I'm a houseplant and I die.
That's why Wendy's plants thrive so
'Cause
much.
she does listen to a
loves
lot of rock and roll.
Yeah.
They like rock and roll. They
All
like
right.
jazz music. They like classical music.
Well, that's why all my dad's plants are alive.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It's
They're all making
so much
sense.
Yeah,
All right.
everything reacts to sound waves.
But anyways, yeah, I think that's cool because she
That is cool.
sells those
That is
prints,
cool.
and it's like your actual like brain waves.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
We should look into that too.
That's
Yeah.
what we put up here.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's,
All of our
that's
waves.
I think that's why it came up on my algorithm. I'm pretty sure it was TikTok. So what the lady does is that for couples, what she does is she put headphones on like let's say for example you and I, and then she'll say Paulina, and then she'll take a screenshot of like the sound of
reaction.
the brain waves
Uh-huh.
that whatever comes out of when she says the name Paulina and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was pretty cute.
Aw,
That is cute.
Yeah.
that's like that clinic that Kelly and I visited. It's in Oceanside or Carlsbad. I don't remember. Carlsbad. But they will create like your custom song to bring you like back down to ground level. But they'll also create one for a couple so that when you argue, you listen to this song and it like brings you both down.
Cállate la verga.
Press this play.
Cálmate.
I like that.
Yeah. It's going to be my wedding gift to you guys. Your peace
Love
song.
I think we did talk about that and we said that we
Yeah.
wanted to go. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that's really
a cool concept. I like
But
it.
then Kelly goes MIA on me and doesn't respond to me. Fuck you, Kelly.
Wow.
Fuck you and your
Well,
arms.
Scorpio,
You know
it's
who has
okay.
bigger arms, Kelly?
And
You ain't Hugh Jackman?
Jackman.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kelly. I love you. I'm just kidding.
Like, damn.
It's a Scorpio.
just telling you.
See, now I hate it. You guys know me.
Anyways.
Now, anyways.
This is a perfect
Do you
segue
hate it?
into Sylvia talking about her event that we
Oh,
all went
yeah.
to.
Yes. Super excited. It seemed really cool.
It
Yes.
was really cool. I think it just felt really good to have that under my belt too, because I've been a part of so many events where I'm either teaching it or I'm helping afterward to work it. And so it was really nice because I'm a control freak. So every time I go to these events or I like help to host them, I'm always like, I would have done this differently. I would have done this differently. So it was nice to like have a little more control. I do think that it was exactly what I intended because I feel like a lot of these events that I also go to are very purely aesthetic. And I feel like it still was aesthetic, but there was like a very hidden purpose of like, I really want people to feel something when they come to this. I always want to add like a weird element of vulnerability in that activity. 3 people were like, low key, fuck you for that activity. It was like people were crying, but I wanted that. Like I wanted you to break down your walls. So I made everybody, I don't know if she told you.
No.
I made everybody,
Wait, but before you go into those details, can you kind of go back a little
Yeah.
and talk about what the event was?
I digress. So it was a full moon ritual.
She got excited.
It was,
I know, but I was like, I feel like there's people listening that may not
for
know,
sure.
so
Yeah.
I want them
that's
to
a
have
good
all the
point.
information.
My Aries energy.
Nos
Jumping the gun.
aceleramos, pues.
Yes. But it was
a trait of impatience here. Sorry,
Yes.
I'm gonna shut up now.
Yes, there is.
Y te callas.
Oh, te callo. But I really like doing full moon as opposed to new moon rituals. I feel like people usually do new moon rituals because it's like you get to set this like intention for whatever, but it was a blood full moon also. So I really wanted that energy for like just letting shit go. And I think to your point, I just have felt like this year was so heavy that it just felt more correct for me to do something to release rather than like to manifest and invite. Like that didn't feel organic. I'm like, necesitamos sacudir un poquito. So we started off with,
okay?
sí, y nos sacudieron.
Sí, también.
I didn't hear about that.
Oh, you heard the good part, the important part. So we started off with a class because I really wanted everyone to just like get out of their head into their body, and like we were gonna do uncomfortable things. So I wanted everyone to just move and sweat a little first. So we did a flow class, which is a class that the bar studio modeled after The Class, which is a studio in New York and in LA. And it's very like repetitive, very simple movements, but after a while, te cansas, like you're doing the same.
Not to be confused with yoga flow.
Yes. I have multiple people ask me, they were like, so is the yoga going to be more like restorative? I'm like, we are not doing yoga.
I definitely thought we were doing yoga. And I was like, wait, why am I doing
why am I jumping? What is this?
That's
so
funny. My
it's
dad was
very-
asking me. He kept on asking me about your event, and he's like, "¿Y qué va a hacer Sylvia? ¿Y de qué se trata?" And I was like, honestly, I don't know, because you never know with Sylvia.
Yep. So flow is very like, you'll do like a spurt of cardio and you'll do jumping jacks or high knees, or you'll just like shake out your body, and then you'll be doing like planks, and then you'll be doing squats, and then you'll do like jumping jacks again. And then it's kind of like a HIIT workout. So you'll like get your heart rate up doing some kind of cardio. Then you'll kind of work on the strength. Then you'll have a moment for like connective breath. Then you go back to the cardio. And so you're kind of like riding this wave, and that's why we call it flow. So you're going like up and down and through the motions. And then we always end every class with a meditation, but that's my favorite part. And so I took over the meditation portion as Sylvia sessions, where I just needed everybody to like write down, what do you want to release? What are you trying to let go of? What is it that's getting in your way? And I gave everybody papers to do that. And then afterward, I made everybody find someone in the room that they didn't know, which was great because I knew everybody. So I was like, you can't play me, fuckers.
I know you don't know each other.
And so you
La
had
Paco
to...
Nelly.
Well, that was the first thing she said. She was like, I know most of you came with someone you know.
Yes.
So find someone you don't know.
Yes. And I made them sit face to face with each other. And I said, you don't have to read what's on your card. You can read one sentence. You can make it a statement of, I just want to release the idea that I'm not good enough. Like I don't care how much you say, but I want you to like let this stranger see you, and I want you to just say something to them, so that I think for me the big point is, I think we all have shit, and I think we forget when we're so wrapped up in our shit that the person right next to us is also dealing with a lot of heaviness. And so I feel like it doesn't necessarily make your problem seem smaller, because I'm not trying to minimize your problems, but I'm trying to make you realize that the world is so much bigger than your problems. And so at first you could see like fear in everyone's face, and everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, what am I going to do right now? And multiple people you could tell were like not happy that this was what they were going to do, because I didn't tell anybody what was going to happen at this event.
Surprise, bitch.
Yeah. And so I told them, I was like, okay, consensual activity is sexy. So you got to pick whose mat you sit on. You meet at your mat, you look at each other. I don't care if you hold hands. I don't care if you just stare at each other. Like, I want you to connect with this person and tell them something. I couldn't get these people to shut up. Everybody looked at me so weird. And then I was like, okay, try to wrap it up. And they just kept fucking talking. And I was like, okay. So it was really sweet too, to see so many people be like, I am not doing that. Like some people looked angry. And then by the time they sat down, I couldn't get them to stop talking to this complete stranger. And then after we stopped the talking, I made them just stare at each other, which is another really uncomfortable thing to do, especially with someone you don't know. I was like, I really need you to just literally just sit and look them in the eyes like this, like in complete silence. And some people just started sobbing. Some people hugged. Like, it was just really beautiful to see those walls come down because, again, the point was to let someone see you, to have that vulnerability, but also this person has no context of your life, you know, like they're not there to judge you. They couldn't judge you if they wanted to. Like, they have no fucking clue what you're going through. All they're feeling and hearing is what you're allowing them to see. And so it was really cool to watch multiple people. Like, I had a girl who brought her suegra, and the suegra didn't speak any English. So she found my friend Claudia, and she and Claudia were together, but Claudia is from Peru, so she speaks Spanish. And so it was cool to like just watch people's walls really come down, especially her. Like, she was this older woman and she was like, what am I doing with all these younger kids here? And then by the time she got to Claudia, like, they were just flowing. Claudia was crying. Like, it was just really, really special to watch. And then after that, I just told them, okay, before you get back up and go back to your space, I just want you to tell that person that you see them. So all you had to say was, I see you. And then you get up, leave. And then we did like the sound bath, which a lot of people don't know, but that was Eileen's first time ever doing that to a big group. And I think she did a really good job. Yeah. So we gave everybody masks. They laid down. You did like the sound bath, the hypnosis, hypnotherapy. Kelly's mom didn't go because she saw hypnosis in the program. And she was like, no, like brujeria. And she was like, I didn't want to be rude and like get up and leave if I had to, you know? Mm-hmm. But I don't do rituals. I don't do this. I was like, okay. Señora. So, yeah, we finished that off, and then I was surprised by the amount of people that actually went to the ocean to cold plunge. Meli completely embraced it. She did it with this other girl, Danielle, who she and her boyfriend do a lot of stuff like that. Her boyfriend actually does more like rituals, and they go to like hike on top of mountains for shit. Wow. And so she also was like, I want to take you to one of my favorite teachers that I go to all the time for class, but that was like more his element than hers, even though she's the one that's in my class every week. So it was just really special because I got to see everybody in a different context, and I got to like be a little more personal with people. Afterward, we had a little sauna where that was like a last minute addition, but the guy is from, I think it was Slovenia. Mm-hmm. And so his dad grew up with him like building these saunas next to rivers and like lakes in Russia, where it's like you would cold plunge in the lake and then you'd get in the sauna. And
That's really cool.
It was really cool.
It was really cool.
And his dad built the one that we were in, and he had like hot leaves, and he was doing a whole limpia. Like, he was like getting them wet, getting them hot, and then he like the sacudio, and then he would come around to everybody for the front, and then you would like bend over so he could get your back, and then he did everybody's back. You had the little wool hats so you could like stay a little bit cool, and he was like giving everybody the history, and it smelled like eucalyptus in there. And then we have ice baths at the Fitness Collective too, so for those that wanted to, they were able to like cold plunge again, because contrast therapy is usually better when you go hot to cold, but we did it the other way around because we had to go to the ocean first and then come back to hot. So it was nice for like the people that actually wanted to do it right, they could finish it. I did not do it a second time, so I barely did it the first time. It was cold as fuck. It was. And then, yeah, we just kind of settled around bonfires. We had Blue Light Bonfires sponsor the event and bring like the bonfires inside, because obviously it was raining. So they would have normally like carved out in the sand and put the bonfires out by the beach, but they were really adaptable. The guy ended up being super cool. Him and Kelly are like good friends now. Of course. And, yeah, it was really well rounded. I feel like I also have a mental note of like, I would have done this differently. Nobody noticed the difference if I did this or that. And overall, I just felt really content, and I slept till noon the next day. Like, I went to bed and I was laid the fuck out because I just felt so happy, and I hadn't slept that contently in so long. And I remember there were 2 points probably at like maybe 8-9 o'clock in the morning where like, you know, you wake up and you're like, I have to pee, but I was like, I don't want to get up. And then I just went back to sleep, and I slept until noon. And that I never do that. Like, I have to get up, go pee, come back to bed, and then I'll go back to sleep. But I was so just like out cold, and I just don't know that I've slept like that in a really long time. So it was also just, it felt good for me to watch. And like, even though I didn't get to participate really, it was still really, really cool to like orchestrate. So yeah,
that's cool. A little round of applause for
Thank
your
you.
first ever event that you put together.
For me, yeah.
I feel like as someone that went to the event, I definitely really enjoyed it. And I also like really picked up on the energy of everybody around me, and like it also like they seemed like they were all so very like really enjoying it. One of these like a core memory for me that day was when we were doing the flow. And I turned to look at Melly, and she was having like a great time. And Melly's like not one to like loosen up in front of a lot of people, you know? And so at the end of the flow, when Brenda was having us like shake it off and like dance a little, I like turned because I was like, Melly probably hates me right now. Like that was what went through my mind. And she was having so much fun. And she looked at me and she goes, I love you. Thank you so much for bringing me to this. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad she's having a good time. Because for a minute I was like, I don't know if she's going to like this part. But like overall, yeah, I think she also had really good feedback on like the partner that she got. I mean, I think the partner I got as well. Like I think everything just kind of flowed really well, and like we all got to experience. Everybody had their own personal experience, but it all seemed to be very positive, you know?
Yeah.
The sauna, was crazy. I had never been in a sauna like that. Like it was kind of like a combination between a sauna and like a steam room. Cause like I walked out of there like soaked, dripping, right? So I was like, okay. But I thought that was really cool. And like, well, I did half a cold plunge. I went up to like my thighs, was not intending to go that far and the water just attacked. But I thought it was a beautiful event. I am really proud of you for putting that together, and hopefully we get to see more of those events.
Yes.
Like, now it's a requirement.
She was saying that earlier. She's like, now you're not allowed to not have this every month.
Like now they need to at least once a quarter, please.
Well, I was a little sad because you had the whole photographer thing happen.
Yes.
And like a part of me was like, I really want to tell you I'll do it. But like I said, like I have no nighttime experience with with photography. But then Pao was like, well, Kelly was out there taking pictures. And then a part of me was like, I should have just fucking gone.
Yeah. You should have.
You just turn on the flash.
Next time I'm just going to have you and Kelly help me out. Because I feel like you guys know. Because Kelly, the photographer, worked out great. But even Kelly behind the scenes was like, you should capture that. You should go take a video of that. Like he had to do a lot of, coaching, and granted, I couldn't do it. Yeah. So I don't blame the photographer either, because we didn't have a ton of time to touch base. Like I didn't give him a proper shot list because it was so last minute. But Kelly did a really good job of like, whereas I feel like you and Kelly would just know those vibes because you know me. And so I wouldn't even have to tell you. I wouldn't have to give you a shot list. Like you would automatically be like, oh, I have to capture that. Oh, I have to go over there. Like, oh, something's happening. I got to go do this. And so I feel like that's what I need. And I just don't have anybody that's super intuitive with me yet. Yeah. So we're just going to throw money into a honey pot for you and Kelly to have your gear.
Well, now
so
that I know that, like, I really do want to invest time and money eventually, but like on nighttime shooting, because I got the daytime pretty much down. Yeah. But nighttime and evening,
it is a different animal.
It's a whole different vibe, and light setup, and like you said, I need to buy the lights, but also or the flash, but also and
I was just kidding.
No, I mean you're right though, because there are lights that go on top, but since I haven't done it, and it was a wellness event, I didn't want to be in people's faces with the bright ass light, or taking pictures in a flash and they're trying to meditate, or they're trying to or they're doing the exercises where they're looking at each other's eyes, and I'm over here like
So. I think the photographers did a really good job at like not having a light in our face inside, because you had like a few people in there with like a DJI and stuff. So I realized that, and I was like, okay, like I think they're doing a really good job at getting the content. And I feel like the light still pulled really well until like we completely turned everything off for the sound bath. But then again, like how much can you really record and like take pictures of during that time? But that's what I was telling him. I was like, even if it was just to practice, like as an extra set, like nothing crazy,
like
you
Kelly.
know?
Kelly went in and just. And there were a couple of times where like he turned on my little like cheap digital camera and it was like, and he was like, oh, fuck. He put it away really quick because he didn't know it was going to make that sound, like, and it's all quiet.
When your phone rings in class.
Yeah.
Well,
literally.
like we were in Oaxaca and I wanted to take subtle videos, especially of like the vendors, like the street vendors and stuff. And I've always wanted to do that style of street photography where I'm taking like those pictures, especially of like locals. But you could hear the when I turn on the video and it's like, oh, and they turn around like shit. And I'm just pretending I'm like looking at like old pictures or something.
It's almost like you have to do it way ahead.
Half
right?
the reel is of your feet from when you like bring the camera down.
Just turn off the sound.
I mean you can. I
don't know.
I just get lazy.
Like advanced.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean,
it's above
I think
my pay grade. I don't know how to do that.
I think overall everything was great, and I do hope that there's more of those.
Did you cry too, and did you sleep until noon?
I did not cry, but I did sleep until I think it was like 10:30, which is really late for me. Like I definitely don't sleep in that late anymore. But I also was like extremely tired from everything. I think it was just like it was such a good workout, and then we did the cold plunge, and then we did the sauna, and just like so many highs and lows during the whole time. That towards the end, we were all like Melly, Danny, and I were all really hungry. So we were like, okay, let's go get something to eat. But I almost like said, no, I just want to go home because of like how ready to go to bed I was.
Yeah.
And like I still had to shower because like they whack you with the eucalyptus and you have like eucalyptus all over you and like the oils.
But isn't that good for you?
Yeah,
It is. Yeah. But it's like, it's the vibe where you're like, okay, a la mimis.
Yeah.
Like you want to go home, shower off, and like crawl into bed.
Yeah. And so then, and then I slept in and I was like that. I really did need that sleep. And I feel like since that day is when I finally started getting more restorative sleep and I was able to like start seeing that difference in my charts. So I was like, okay, it is what my body needed.
Yeah.
So it was nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm really happy that you got that done. Because you're also stressing the fuck out.
I was. He texted me multiple times and he was like, did you breathe yet? I was like, how did you know? I've actually asphyxiated and died 5 times.
I was like, the world is telling me that Sylvia hasn't breathed.
I was not breathing. I definitely had a lack of oxygen to the head by the end of the week. Yeah.
Well, your not breathing paid off.
Yeah.
It was well worth it.
Good.
Yeah. Which brings me to our main event, our main course event of today's episode.
Juicy.
Dun, dun, dun,
Sleeping.
dun.
I'm just playing.
Sleeping.
But
Let's
that
talk
has something
about
to do
it.
with sleep, though.
We forgot about Kelly. We need to bring him on.
Oh yeah, we can't do that episode without Kelly.
No, burnout. And I feel like you, Pao and Celia, had said like the beginning of the year has just been so heavy with everything that's been going on in everybody's lives that I really do feel like I just hit another wall again. And I really saw it this past episode, specifically part 1, where I was just in a creative block and I just didn't know what to do. And you guys even sent me like timestamps. And even with those like timestamps that you guys sent me, I still could not get it
you made
together.
us all listen and send. We all sent you like 4 timestamps.
I shouldn't have to make you listen. First
No,
of all,
but
second of all, you
asked-
should be listening to your own podcast, all right? We need to listen.
I
to
do. No me grites.
No, what I'm saying is that we all listened the same day. and
Yeah,
sent you
no, but I
timestamps.
really did, like, even with you guys sending me timestamps, because I still have to, like, you guys, I mean, sometimes it's timestamps that are like 2 minutes long, 1 minute
you
long,
have to, like, crop
and I
them.
had to like
Cut
crop it down to like 10 seconds, 15, whatever, and I just couldn't get to it. Like I would open up the laptop and I would just be like, I just can't. I had everything loaded and I just took me forever just to get one reel out, and I really did feel like I hit a wall, and I had been feeling it for like quite some time, and lately I've been pretty good at like when I'm feeling a burnout that I'll like start changing different things in my environment or like my train of thought, or I'll try to go do something that would get me out of my funk. But I just could not for the life of me. And I think I had just been like stressing out so much because work is slow.
And for so long.
Yeah. And for so long. And then like, you know, the whole podcast restructuring and coming up with topics and like, sea lo que sea, like some people, like when it comes down to podcasting, people just say, oh, you just sit there and record your thoughts. But like in reality, it's a show. Like you have to put this together. Yeah. And it's like, I had to think of the topics and I have to like, okay.
Have to shower and get ready.
You do. Jesus.
Jesus has to drive here.
Jesus has to drive
have to
here.
drive.
I sat through an hour of traffic today.
You did. Thank you so
You
much.
did.
Yes.
But it is.
You're welcome.
It's like a circus. It's a circus that you have to put together because at the end of the day, it's still entertainment for people. We have to make it entertaining for people. So it's just like all these things just keep on hitting me just left and right. And then at one point I was just like, I'm just done. And like, I just couldn't anymore. And it kind of just happened around the same time as your event. And I felt you like your vibes were like strongest. So your vibes were like coming out of the phone.
When we recorded last time, I mentioned I think I'm burnt out, and so I think I like was just using the last bit of steam I had left because it was like a passion project. So like when it invigorates you, you just have a different life to it.
Yeah.
But I think I slept till noon because I was like, I'm tired, boss. Like I was like, that's all I've got left. Like that was literally my last little spurt of fuel, and then I was done.
And it's hard, like you said, especially when it comes down to like your own projects. Because like even with the podcast, sometimes like there's days where even like last year when sometimes when it was just like just me, Pao, and Jesus, and I was like, and I would be coming up with topics, and I was tired from work, and I was like, I just can't anymore. Like I cannot think of anything else to talk to about. And there was days where I was like, I'm done. Like I don't want to podcast anymore. Like this is it. Like Vive con Huevos is over. And like, but we still powered through it, because like you said, it's still your passion project. And I was like, you know, I made it this far, and I'm doing something for myself. And I put so much energy and effort into things that aren't my projects that like, why can't I do it for myself? You know, but then that still ends up like taking energy out of you, right? And like water out of your cup, basically.
When I think it's valid, I think that's why breaks are a good thing, you know, and like it's not necessarily like an ending to something, but just kind of taking those like, okay, this week we're just not going to record, and that's okay too, and kind of giving yourself like that grace of knowing that like, okay, well, we didn't record this week, and like not beating yourself up over that fact, and instead like appreciating that you can take that break and that you can come back to it feeling even better and stronger, you know. And I think burnout is a really big thing, because I would say more people than not don't take that time to like recover. I think one of the things I really admire from like other countries is that they actually travel, but they travel like for a long period of time versus like a couple days here and there, where like they're looking forward to those things where it's like, okay, yes, I'm going to work really hard for 3-4 months, but I also get to leave for the next month and a half after that, you know? And you know, like we're obviously all very wired to be working and doing this and staying busy and always having something to do. And we have such a like busy, friend and family life. And, you know, there's just always something going on that it's hard when you come down to something like this, where you're like, well, it is my passion project, but it also like, I'm just tired, so I don't want to do it anymore. It's like not a passion anymore.
I saw something the other day, actually, now that you mentioned that. Somebody was asking an Italian person, like, why do you think that the Italian economy has had so many like ups and downs? And it was an American asking an Italian person. I hope I don't butcher this, but the Italian person was basically like, well, Italian people know how to live a happy life, so we're not as concerned about the money and the grind and the material things as you guys are in America, because you don't have the happiness part figured out. And I thought that was a really interesting point, because it's true. I feel like we're so wired. I feel like we've talked about this multiple times, but we're so wired to just keep going, like, because no te queda de otra. Like, no me casé con un rico, so here I am. And so you just have to keep going, and it's impossible. Like, you don't have an unlimited energy reserve. It has a limit, as much as we try to fight it.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that about like being with someone rich. We're watching White Lotus.
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
And this season they go to Thailand. And if you haven't watched White Lotus, this is the first time I ever watch it. But anyways, there's this one rich family that ends up going on a yacht with another rich old guy and his like super young girlfriend.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert.
Don't listen to this if you
if
haven't watched the last episode.
Terms she wants to listen to?
I'm fine with spoilers.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
care. I don't
Do
care.
you watch White Lotus, Jimmy?
I haven't watched it.
It's actually really good. You should watch it.
Do you care?
It's whatever. I'll forget it.
I got hooked. Like, it's the first season I ever watched. You don't have to watch the other seasons, by the way, to like watch
like
the
there's
last
like
one.
little connections, but you can watch the season without watching the previous one.
Good to know.
But anyways, so the rich family goes on the yacht with the rich old viejito, and then the dad talks to the viejito, and he's all, oh, so you live here in Thailand? And he's all, yeah. So he's all, well, they say that people who come to Thailand are either running away from something or looking for something. He's all, which one are you? And then the old guy is like, neither. I just got tired of the rat race. And like that like hit me like a bus.
Oh, that really resonated with you.
Yeah, that really did. And I was like, it's because it all just happened. And then like, it's like, no, pero no me grites. I'm watching you for fun. But I think it was just because, I mean, it's March. For our friends that know us like personally, March is just such a hectic month for us. It's like birthdays left and right, and it's like I'm just getting gut punched every day. It's like I got plans here, plans there,
more money,
yeah, and it's like
more time.
Yeah, seriously, plans here, plans there, and it's
taxes.
Like, la neta,
oh God,
dude. So that happened, and like going back to your whole Italy thing, and like Bao and I have been wanting to go to Europe for like the longest time and live there. And I don't know. At one point, I'm like blabbering. At one point, I was just sat there and I was like, why? Like, I am getting tired of the fucking rat race.
Yeah.
Like, it is like,
I've been tired.
seriously.
I've been tired.
Yeah, it's like, I'm chasing, I feel like I'm just like endlessly chasing money
Yeah.
so I can be financially free. But like, you go to other countries where people aren't financially free. They're just living.
They're chilling.
Yeah, they're just mad chilling. And like you said, yeah, Italy might have a big fluctuating economy. But you go there y todos están bien tranquilos,
Sí.
you know? And it's not like here where it's like we're just constantly chasing something and we're just constantly tired because of the chase. And yeah, that really did resonate with me. I was like, I keep thinking about it like every single day. It's like, I am getting tired of the rat race. And now with this whole change with the business that we're having, it's kind of like more a slap in the face because it's like, well, what am I really chasing now? Like, what is my next thing to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, do I stay here and start another business? And it just continues that endless cycle of wanting to move up the ladder. Or do I chase something else, you know, that's something that's going to fulfill my soul a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to just find that balance, you know, of like, okay, we're looking for a little happiness. We're looking for a little financial stability. Like, we're looking for a little bit of everything. And unfortunately, I feel like, I say America because this is all we know, right? But I do strongly believe that like where you live, you're going to have your hardships no matter what, because it's just, you're still having to survive and economies still fluctuate and you're still, you know, obviously if like we move to Europe and get a job out there, it's going to be like a pretty basic job. So what our money is worth, like we get more money here than they do there. Like the cost of living is just different. So regardless, wherever you are in Mexico, in Europe, like you're going to have those hardships. But I think just, I mean, I think just finding that balance wherever you are, like being able to find that happiness, even in your job, right? And like that way you're like, don't get yourself like, find yourself at burnout as often, because I feel like that's something that happens to me a lot where I really do enjoy my job, but my job can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
And instead of being like, okay, I need to take a break, like I'm allowed to take a day off because I have time off. But instead of doing that, I like decide to just save all of this for when I take a vacation, which is how many times a year, you know? So I think it's like even finding those days in between where you're like, okay, today I just need the break, and like giving yourself that space also. And yeah.
I don't want these California problems. I want under the Tuscan sun.
I know,
problems.
seriously.
I need to revamp my grapevines.
Yeah.
Jesus, you're pretty quiet over there.
Because I've always been a Zen guy. Like,
You have.
I just don't let things overwhelm me.
Must be nice.
There's very few things that trigger me, but
Content.
and
What's
it's funny
that
because
like?
well, it's funny because me and my mom had a conversation about this because my family gets sick a lot, but she notices I never get sick, and she says
Except
it's
that one time you got COVID.
Oh, except that one, and I got everyone sick. But typically, I don't like more like the colds or cough, stuff like that. And she said, she mentioned it's probably because you're never stressed out. Like you don't look stressed out. Like
No, stress is
your
such
health
a
has to do a
killer.
lot with your mental state. So ever since that, I've been thinking about that. And I mean, I've always been one to just do what I want at my own pace, and just accepting things for how they are. Like, for example, just today I got rejected at a job application from the same position. It's the second time I applied. Second time I got denied, and it was the same manager. And then now it's just telling me, it's like, I should look somewhere else. Like it's just more like this life telling me, like, just do this instead. Stop trying to chase that. And just little things like that, you know, just going with the flow.
I'm gonna bite this microphone.
I know.
It's like that let them theory that's been
Yeah.
going around, the Mel Robbins stuff. I have a really hard time with
You're talking to people that have type A personalities, right?
I can't let them.
Yeah.
Si están pendejos, I need them to know.
Yeah.
Like I can't just let it be. I have a really hard time with that. So I envy you. I
Yeah.
really do. Cause I like to think I'm pretty like grounded and chill for the most part. Like I'm not as crazy as I think I could be for a Latin
Aries.
German woman. But I do have a really hard time with the whole just let it be thing. I can't. Like, there's some things I cannot let lie.
I mean,
like some things just aren't correct.
Some things you have to grab it by the handle and, you know,
for sure,
move it your way.
But I can't not let it like consume me. So I really envy people like you. Like I say this with like a really high regard, actually. I really envy people that like se les resbala todo. I can't do it. Like when I care deeply about something, it literally will consume me. And I wish I wasn't like that. But here we are.
Maybe it's kind of like, I watch a lot of anime and stuff. So it's like me redirecting my chi, you know, all this stress and whatever. And I'm just putting it towards something like whether I exercise or whether I play video games, you know, just putting my anger towards that. Or I don't know.
That's the way a good way to think about it, like redirecting where your anger goes.
Did a whole fucking spin series on that. I'm telling you, I know, but I can't apply it. Like me cuesta so much. Like it takes everything in me to really like let shit lie, and I don't understand. I don't know.
It's the Libra in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I need to find out exactly what
it is. We need to see his chart.
Yeah.
We need to know
I
why.
need to see his chart. I ain't got no fucking Libra in my chart. That's why.
I don't either, actually.
Actually, I don't think I do.
I know. I was like, I don't know.
But it is really hard to let go of something sometimes. That's something that I like get mad at my dad about a lot. And sometimes I catch myself doing that too. Because I do kind of hyper asphyxiate on a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. And I try to like ground myself and remind myself, it's like, just let it go. Mm-hmm. But I get mad sometimes at my dad because honestly, I think that's where I got it from, because he hyper asphyxiates like crazy. Yeah. Like if I'm like at 50%, my dad's at like 150%. And I get mad at him sometimes because sometimes we're sitting in traffic and it's aggravating. It's like fucking 6:30, 7:30 in the morning, 7 in the morning, you know? And some guy cuts him off and my dad's like, pissed off and like flashing his lights and Jesus Christ, sorry, maldiciéndolo. And then I was like, Dad, just chill. Like, relax, bro. Ya va a pasar, you know? And then like 5 minutes, this guy's going to be like way over there. We're going to be in our exit and ya que, you know? Like, la vida ya pasó.
No, I need him to know right now that he's an asshole.
My dad's the same way. He's like, no. Dice, ¿por qué está manejando así?
And BMW drivers, I hate you guys.
Okay, so do you.
Yeah, because they're all assholes.
Because they don't turn on their lights. Or if they turn it on, they go the opposite way.
They're all just douchebags
so
that think they have money.
It's like, it's every single time.
That came from a dark place.
That came from a dark place. We're being better people.
No que no.
It's the Scorpios.
Yeah, I remember I learned about the let them theory a while back, and I remember being like, all right, I'm going to try it. And that shit
didn't work.
I feel,
It's a wash.
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten pretty good at being like I don't really care what people think about me. I've kind of just like let that go, you know, and like not really like being hyper fixated on like what people are going to think. But I definitely can't just let people be stupid. Like it really, you know, and like as much as I'm like, not your place. Like it's just like sometimes I'm like, really though? And I've definitely adopted like calling people out on their bullshit this year from you, because I was like, we're done. Like
I'm done.
We're done letting people just like be ways that they cannot be. Like,
There's this comedian that I love. His name is Chris Porter. He has this stand-up. It's one of my favorite stand-ups. Everything he says in that stand-up, with the exception, because he has a very strong opinion about like tattoos and piercings, which obviously I don't agree with, but everything else is like, it's like he took it from my brain. Like it's so fucking funny. It's called Ugly and Angry. And he has this whole thing where he's like, there's no such thing as stupid questions. No, there's such thing as stupid questions. This is life. We're playing for points. There are a fuck ton of stupid questions. He's like, did you seriously just ask me if that's the elevator? What other door opens from the middle and people just walk in and magically disappear? Like, what the fuck do you think this is? Of course, that's the fucking elevator. That's a stupid ass question. And I just think that to my core. Like, I'm like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding? And to your point, I don't think it has anything to do with me. Like, I really genuinely don't give a shit what people think about me. Yeah. It's everything else when people don't notice how like they're ignorant to something that affects the people around them. Especially, I think politically, I have a really hard time with that, because tend to range with I'm not going there. I'm just saying I tend to range a lot with my politics. Yeah. Depending on what you're asking me, I can lean conservative or I can lean a little more liberal, but it depends on what we're talking about. When it comes to a lot of humanitarian issues, I have a really hard time with people just having such a strong opinion or letting their religion judge how other people should live their lives. Economic things, different. I lean a little more conservative. the fuck do you care that person wants to marry a man? Like that shit bothers me. I'm like, I can't just let you. I cannot just let you. It bothers me. Like that affects your life zero. The economy, yeah, that affects all of us. We can have a discussion about that. But you want to talk about gay marriage? That makes no one's life different. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. And so for stuff like that, I have a really hard time with the let them thing, because I just want to shake people. I'm like, I just want to hurt you. Okay, now I'm hot again. I need to stop talking.
Well, the reason I laughed was the whole politics thing, because it's been getting worse lately. And I'm not going to dive really deep into politics right now, but the thing is, like, my dad and I, and I've said this multiple times on this podcast, my dad and I have a blue collar job. Like we work, a blue collar business. And it's pretty racist. Like, I had my first racist encounter when I was pretty young. Like, my dad started the business when I was 6-7 years old. Yeah. And by like age 10, I had already come across a lot of fucking racist things. And I have one that, like, I specifically remember. We were cleaning this house in La Jolla, and office building in La Jolla. And I went to go, and this office, it was a really good client of ours. So like he knew us for like years. Anyways, I went to go take out trash for them because they asked me if I could go take it out, and they would give me like tips. So like when I was little, I would do like random shit for our clients, because who didn't want $2?
Yeah.
So I'm out in the alleyway.
That has no like prejudice. Everybody likes change when they're little.
Fuck yeah. So I'm out and I'm going to the alleyway and I'm throwing out the trash, and there's like a little office building, and then there's right next to it, it's the residential area. So this lady comes out of her house and she's all, hey, and we're parked, the van, my dad's carpet cleaning van is parked in the alleyway. And I threw the trash away, and I'm getting something from the van, and this lady comes out from her house and she goes, hey, how much do you guys charge for cutting grass? And I'm like, I'm in my own fucking world, and I'm fucking little. I'm like 10, 9 years old. Like, I'm under 10. Like, I'm in La La Land, you know? And then I was like, and she says it again, and I like remember this day so vividly, and I was like, she's talking to me?
Me?
Yo? Todo gordito? Yo? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, and I remember thinking, I was like, I'm in a van that says carpet cleaning.
No, but my uncle does.
That would have been good. And then she says it again, and I was like, no, like, I clean carpets. And then she's like, but you Mexicans do everything, right? And I was little. I didn't realize how racist that was, or how prejudiced that was. In my head, I was just like, what the fuck, stupid lady?
I'm Salvadorian.
I'm Salvadorian. Can't you
read? Sorry, I'm not walking around pupusas, you know? So anyways, long story short, it's been getting worse. And like, I've encountered with a lot of racist shit since I've been little. And as of lately, it's been getting even worse. And I just recently had an encounter with the lady, like this past month. I was cleaning her carpets, and she goes, so do you like carry around your passport everywhere you go? And I was like, what the fuck? What? Why? First of all, hold on.
Should I?
What are you trying to do?
Are you about to report me?
I'm in your house right now, and I feel a little, I'm not safe.
Yeah.
It was just this old lady, but she just was concerned about like how everything is. Like, she came from a good place
for sure
eventually, but how
delivery was a little off.
Or maybe she wanted to make you sugar baby and then just fly you out somewhere.
Oh shit. She wanted to deport me, fly me out. That's what she
walks out of the house ice.
But yeah, sorry, I'm not gonna keep on rambling about politics, because I know I'm like not that
educated
on it. And like, honestly, it's just,
but that's like one of those things that like you can't just let them be that way. You know, like
yes, like
I think it's part of like our, like, as a society, like kind of like our responsibility to also be like, what the fuck, lady, like, you know. And like I get it, like she's doing it to you, so you're obviously kind of like taken aback, and you're like, well, how do I like navigate this, you know? And so it's quick to like act on that, but like, as someone that maybe is in that space, it's kind of like, hey, like, what? Like, you don't ask those questions. Like, it's just not something, especially living in California, San Diego.
My
like,
subtitles like turned on immediately. So, and I think she noticed that, and that's how like the conversation kind of calmed down. But
Yeah.
like at first I did get kind of triggered, and I was like, hold up, why, bitch? Like, what are we trying to do right now? I'll fight you. I don't care if you're 70 years old.
Real quick.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just been getting worse. But anyways, I derailed a little bit. But
Yeah, I know.
we derailed a lot.
No, but
Anyways.
those people, we can't let them. You have to let people know that they need to do better so that they
Yeah.
can do better. I would want that. That's not even like aside from the racism thing, like if I'm being ignorant about something, I open friendly, intelligent conversation so that I can know better.
Yeah.
If I'm doing something wrong, I actually had this the other day because I feel like we're really bird walking now, but the whole like trans kids participating in female sports when they were born a man. I go to Pride every year. I have family members that are trans, gay, lesbian. Like I am a very big ally, but I also want to be considerate and I want to be careful because I don't believe that people that were born male should compete against women,
Right.
especially if it's not a co-ed sport. And so I want to be sensitive because I'm not telling you that you can't play that sport or you can't do this thing or you can't be who you want to be. However, if we're talking about biology and if not the right hormones are in place, like that's just science. That's biology. That is point blank period science. That has nothing to do with how I think you should or shouldn't live your life. I don't give a damn who you fuck. I just think that there is a little bit of a discussion that needs to be had there because that is an imbalance. And so I was asking someone who has a very strong opinion of like, well, yeah, but you know, trans people, they have certain hormones in place, so they don't technically have the same hormones. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still a transition. Like I want to be sensitive about how I have that conversation. So I asked, I said, what's the best way for me to voice this opinion without me seeming like I'm not an ally? But I think people lack that curiosity of like, how can I just at least come to your level? And maybe at the end of the day, we'll still walk away agreeing to disagree, but I still want to be sensitive that what I'm saying isn't misunderstood or that you still don't feel like I'm not an ally to you. Like you can have both. And I think that that's where people are having a hard time right now. It's just automatically like, well, this is just how I was raised and how I am. And I'm like, and you're okay with that? Like, I can't just let you be that way. I'm sorry.
We can't
because I don't want to just be that way. And so you shouldn't want to be that way.
No, it is crazy how many people just don't want to have that like open mind or be able to have those open conversations and be receptive to those type of things, you know, because like you said, like at the end of the day, you're still dealing with somebody's emotions and you're still trying to just like approach them at an eye level where you can both have this conversation and it's be okay mutually versus it be just like an explosion or an attack of somewhere. So yeah, I agree.
And that's why we're all burnt out.
Yeah. Anyways, how the fuck did we get here? Anyways.
The world is overwhelming.
Holy shit.
So anyway, Jesus, teach us your ways because this is what happens like on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
So do you guys think that like when you're burnt out, do you think you can be burnt out in one area but not in another? Or do you think burnout just comes as a whole in your everything that you're doing?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I think for me, it's as a whole.
Okay.
Same.
Because I don't think I'm like, oh, I don't have energy for this, but I have energy for that. You know, or like, you know, because I'll still like, if like,
I'll still pony up. You know? I'll still rally. I'm not burnt out enough.
There's always a little room, you know, like there's always room for dessert.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll keep going, but yeah, I wouldn't do it like to my full potential.
Yeah.
Or like if you and like everybody knows that I like to go out, but if I'm burnt out and you're like, let's go out for a beer, I was like, I don't know, I'm down for the beer, but I'm probably just gonna sit
it's not the
there.
same energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think burnout just kind of like takes a toll everywhere, you know, and even if you're like still willing to go out for the beer or like put out that energy in a social setting, you're not 100% you, or you're not like putting out the energy that you
I really felt
do.
it the day of your mom's birthday when everybody came over to the house. And for some reason, I at one point I just felt like exhausted and then like agentado la misma vez. And then and then Robert asked me, he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like I was, I mean, I'm okay, but at that point I was just like, like I knew I was
You're
burnt
like,
out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then it's been really rough and like what's the one for burnout? Help.
We gotta create it.
Yeah.
Mario standing in the corner.
Just getting beat. Pasa quete.
La chancla.
Yeah.
Go slang.
Yeah, well, apparently that doesn't apply for Jesus food.
No.
Yeah. Well, since you don't know what burnout is.
We're gonna burn you out.
I mean, I have social burnouts, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So for you, it's compartmentalized. You
Yeah.
get burnt out in areas.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
anything. And then what I just do to fix is just stay home and do my thing.
Reset.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, burnout is a whole. And I think that's why I'm able to avoid it for so long, because I'm like, no, I'm good, because I can channel that energy, to your point. I can channel it over here, and then I'm fine, but I'm like exhausted over here.
Yeah.
And then I think to me, real burnout is when everything crashes and burns, which I felt the week before the event, because I had been invited to a birthday. And I was literally like at the point where I was like, okay, I have to get dressed, put my makeup on. And I just started crying. And I was like, I can't go. Like, I am so burnt out. I'm going to go sit there. I'm going to be exhausted. I'm not going to be good company. Like, I already know it's going to be parking, walking, like all the things. And the more I thought about it, the more like panicked I got. And
Your
then
subtitles were gonna be real.
yeah. And then I was just not going to be able to do it. And that's when I realized like, oh, I'm burnt the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't even compartmentalize to just go out for someone else's birthday, stop by, say hi, have a drink, and go home. Like, that seemed actually impossible, which normally I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'll stop for like 15 minutes,
Just
turns
for a
into an
bit.
hour or whatever. But I literally couldn't. Like, the idea of it sent me into like almost a panic attack. And I was like, oh, I think this is burnout. I think I'm there. I think we've arrived.
It's like rock bottom.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, for me, it's
Yeah.
a low. It's like burnout is, we're really like done with everything. We got nothing left.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what happens with me too. And it does always hit me when it's like a social outing because I want to go. Like, I love being social. I love my friends. Like, I obviously like the people around me. Like, I think I've done a really good job at like curating those circles of people that I actually want to be around versus people I have to like put up in front of. But I think it has always landed when it's a social setting. And I tell Mario all the time, like, I don't want to go. And it's not because I don't want to hang out with them. It's because I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have the energy to put out. And like, it's just not going to be a good time, to your point, you know? And like, I could be, like, my subtitles could be on even louder that day. And then it's going to cause some kind of issue because then they're like, what's wrong with you? And then it's like, well, nothing, but
I
also so
don't
much.
hide my emotions well. So
I don't either.
You'll know. I'm gonna show up and they're just gonna be like, "Y esta que tiene."
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's normally when it happens to me too. And like that, and then I get into like really big creative blocks. And I mean, that's what I do for work. So that's the minute when I'm like, okay, but I have noticed that it's taken a lot more from me recently to bounce back from any type of burnout, even if it's like on like a mid-level of like, okay, I'm hitting this creative block, like what can I do to help? It's taken a lot more to bounce back from it recently, whereas before I felt like, okay, I need a weekend just like to myself to kind of regroup and like get my shit together. And now I'm like, I need like 2 weeks to like not talk to anybody and do anything.
Business days, at least.
Well, it's funny you said that because I think a lot of your like creativity block comes from the fact that you're always home.
Yeah.
And and then we film from home, so all of your creative juices is in this space, so you very rarely go out, which before you used to be really good at like going to a coffee shop or going out for a walk or just working somewhere else that will change the scenery. Funny enough, shout out to the GOAT, Romy.
Shout out Romy.
Pause, go listen to his episode, Patricio. Told you.
Why are you calling out Patricio?
Because I told him to go listen to it. It's a good podcast.
To Romy. No, it is a good podcast.
Yeah, go listen to it. Because it gave me Patricio vibes. Because later on I was like, oh, this is a good episode for Pat. But anyways, I was talking to him about like burnout, and then this whole I always go through this like horrible black hole of like the growth of the podcast and the growth of the brand, right? And then I was talking to Romy. Romy's a really good friend of ours. He's a DJ producer here from San Diego. But this guy's like a fucking prophet. This guy is like talking to I don't know. I don't want to be blasphemous in this podcast.
No, he has a good head on his shoulders.
He really does. Yeah.
He's very like
Lisana
motivation. You like
What?
motivational.
Lisana Gaib?
Is that our Japanese word of the day?
No, have you seen Dune?
No.
No, oh, it's a big meme. Never mind.
Oh.
Move on.
Damn, I thought we were learning something new today.
Misana Mai.
Lisana Gaib.
Lisana Gaib.
It's like our savior.
Oh, okay, yeah.
wow.
Yeah, Lisana Gai.
Lisana Gaib. Something like that.
But anyway,
It's not that deep.
so we were talking
It's
about
just our savior.
so we're talking about like burnout and like how long like enjoying the process and all this, right? And then he sent me a message and it kind of had to deal with like what you said, and he was like, I would look at it in a different way, honestly. I've been doing music for 10 years nonstop and barely getting any genuine success. It might feel like you're on a roadblock, but the reality is that you need to re-inspire yourself. Maybe that means an episode you do. Maybe that means you do an episode outdoors or in a different location. Burnout is real, but the awesome part is that Puta madre, why can't I read?
Típico.
Burnout is real, but the awesome part is that it's just your soul telling you that you need to excite yourself again. I did. It's because it was down here and I was like, shit. Did you read it? Yeah, the last part was just for me. But
It's private. It's private.
if you look for your numbers and the followers, you always feel empty. Instead, I challenge you to look at the guests you've had in the past year. You'll feel like you've gotten a lot much further than you have.
Yep.
And that, I mean, once we had that conversation, I was like, you're right. Like, I really like, I'm always here, you know? And before I was really good at going to Third Ave with our other friend producer, Jesus the Punk, and like being creative with him in the studio or going up to Third Ave and editing there. And I haven't done that in like a really long time. So I really just did feel like I needed something else. And we did talk about it like Bao and I talked about it last week where I was like, I really want to go back to that. Because when I edit here at home, I just can't sometimes. I'm just like done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does help to get out of the space that you're always in, specifically when you're looking to be a little more creative. I think I do really well at a coffee shop when like I actually need to work because I get really distracted at home. And so a lot of the times I stay home because, I feel bad for Ollie, or it's just easier because like my food is here and I don't have to take all these things with me. And like, it's kind of like, I start to add a lot of excuses as to like why I shouldn't go. And then that's when I realize like, a little bit of burnout is kicking in because I love going to work at a coffee shop, and like when I start just putting like excuses as to why I shouldn't go, I'm like, okay, like I obviously this is when I should go
the most.
Yeah. But getting out of the space is
back on our dates.
Yeah, we really do. You know, getting out of the space that you're in a lot does really help with that, and just kind of like getting into spaces that you enjoy. You know, like for you, it's Third Ave, and like. If I go to Third Ave, I want to drink. Like, I don't want to sit down and work. Like, it's just different. Whereas for me, if I go to a coffee shop, it's like, okay, like relaxing. A lot of people around me are doing the same thing. And so it's kind of like that motivation of like, okay, like if that girl can sit there with her earphones on and at least she looks like she's working, like I can do it too.
That's the cool thing about like Third Ave is like we don't go Thursday through Sunday. We don't touch Third Ave. It's like those are the party days on Third Ave. So we'll go like Monday through Wednesday. Mm-hmm. But what helps me is that he is working on music. So he has his headphones on and then I have my headphones on and we're just kind of in our space. Like, yeah, I do want to drink and we'll have like a few beers, but we are actually like actively working. Like, and since we both have our headphones on, it's not like we can really get distracted. Yeah. The only time I really get distracted is when he's showing me the music and I'm like, oh, this is dope. So.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just you have to like find what works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it did give me, I did really have a hard time though, like, getting to the point where I actually realized that I needed to do something for my burnout. Yeah. Because for the longest time, it was just this was my biggest toxic trait was that I just sucked it all up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm not gonna do anything about it. I'll just ride the wave until I become creative again. And that really affected me in a lot of different ways because then I was moody and I was grumpy and I didn't have energy for anything else. And like I would have the shortest fuse and I would just snap at the smallest, stupidest thing. And I think a lot of that...
It's the Scorpio.
It's a Scorpio energy on it. And a lot of that came from when I was younger and like the role models that I had or the model that I had to follow, you know, was my parents, you know, and a lot of it was, you know, my dad might be in my patriarch because like he came from a very traditional form of, you know, thinking where they didn't prioritize their mental or their physical health. It was just, I'm going to ride through this because I have to, because I'm the man. And I saw that growing up. So like for the longest time, that was what was normal to me. And I really had to like rewire my brain. But it did take me a really long time to get to that point. I don't even think I got there until like maybe the last probably 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Sylvia's loaded
Yeah, I
right
was
now.
like,
She's
shit.
ready to fire.
No, I relate to that a lot. My dad invented the machine that makes Invisalign. And that's one of like 40 something different type of machinery that he's made. He's made the machine that thermoforms the paint trays for Home Depot. When I was little, he made the machine that packages like marbles into the net. And then the one that packages silly putty. And so I had like an abundance of silly putty as a kid.
Marbles.
And marbles. And my dad is a really brilliant person. And it's a really big shadow to live under.
Yeah.
To just constantly feel like nothing you ever do is going to amount to that. Not only that, but I also grew up with being the oldest of 3. My dad has told me straight to my face, which don't do this to your children, but he's told me that I'm his favorite. And so it's like you live in this like
Little.
Danny, Alex, did you hear that? It is kind of like a mental fuckery when my dad is so mathematical and he's an engineer, but he was also very creative, and being an engineer, he could draw really well and he could paint really well. So he was like the best of both, really annoyingly. He was really artistic and he could like sketch or paint anything, but then he was also incredibly brilliant. And I think a little on the spectrum, to be honest, because socially not always knowing the cues, but being someone that like, I don't like math. I'm good at it, but I don't enjoy it. I'm not the type to be more of an engineer. I'm very much creative brained, but to him it was like, well, no, I paint and do those things for fun because that doesn't make you any money. And so then you're constantly living in this rat race of your own hell where you're just like, well, everything I do is just not going to be good enough because it's not going to live up to a standard. I had to be either a doctor or a pilot or a lawyer or a concert pianist at best. Like that was the only thing creatively I was allowed to do, which was also very structured. You would have had to go to a really cool like conservatory somewhere else in the world, either Japan or Poland. And like none of those things sparked joy for me. So you kind of like grow up subconsciously trying to reach this like, are you following
Keep
me?
moving goal.
You know, like
Yeah,
you're
it's
just,
like this
but
goalpost
you don't
just
even
keeps
know.
moving.
Yeah, but you don't even know what the goalpost is. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't even describe what that goalpost is if my life depended on it. I don't know what the goal is because it's not going to make us both happy. Yeah. And so it sucks because then for him, it was always, well, I moved all the way from Poland and I escaped, Russian occupation, and I got captured by the Russians, kicked out of my own country to come here for you to do what? I'm like, damn, that's like a really aggressive question. I'm just trying to live and
Trying to survive on your death.
And so, yeah, it sucks because then in his eyes, it was, well, everything I did is for shit.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard to like not have that playing in the background while you're also trying to like find what makes you happy. But I have to pay my bills, and then it just kind of like snowballs from there.
Yeah, it's kind of like a endless like.
It's a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
You're constantly chasing your tail for like to what? To catch up with yourself and you're still in the same spot.
Yeah. Well, it's like a like mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
It's what it is. Because honestly, like I kind of can sympathize with you because I kind of felt the same way, where it was like my parents did let me have creativity, but like it couldn't be something that I could live off of.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, dope, you're good at drawing and you're good at sketching. Actually, Pao just found that.
But after school.
Pao just found that out like a few
Not
weeks
during
ago.
school.
I really do like doodling, and I'm actually pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that like my parents foresaw as something that I could do as a career. For them, it was something a lot more traditional. So like, yeah, that I like drawing and doodling. I also like playing sports, but it wasn't something that I could pursue. Right. For them, it was like you needed to find something that was a lot more respectable, which was, valid, going back and like trying to understand where they came from and when they immigrated from El Salvador, and the things that they had to escape when they left, and they came here to the United States. You know, they came here, they didn't know the culture, they didn't know the language, or they barely knew the language. Sorry, I thought she was doing something else. And they had to take care of my sister. They had to take care of me. Hi, mamas.
I knew it was coming. She was getting too impatient.
Yeah.
Hi, baby.
You know, they had to endure like economic hardships and para sacarnos adelante, you know? And then when I actually try to put myself in their shoes, and it's like, it's hard to understand as a child that like, hey, well, actually it's hard to understand their situation, you know? And it kind of fills you up with like this sentiment of like guilt of like, okay, I get it. You came here for a better life, but this also makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to them, it's like, yeah, I get that makes you happy, but it's like, to Sylvia's point, does it make you money?
Yeah. I think I see it, and I can't say that I'm someone that really went through that the way that you guys went through it, because technically, like, the immigrants here were my grandparents and not my parents. And so it was kind of like secondary, right? Like my mom kind of went through that more than I did. And I think my mom was like, well, I don't want to do that to her. But regardless, I still do feel like it happened a little bit in my life. Like I couldn't go, like at one point I thought I wanted to be a chef. Like, thanks mom for not letting me go to culinary school. It's definitely not what I wanted. But like it was, they still weren't allowing like that creativity. It was more like, no, you need to go to school, like get the 4-year degree, whatever it's in. And then figure out if you want to be a chef, and then you can go do that. And I remember at the time I was like, that's like so unfair. Like this is what I want to do, whatever. And now I'm like, okay, grateful for that. But I can definitely like, I think the majority of my friends and like people that I'm really close to have gone through an experience very similar. And I could like sympathize with the guilt of knowing that like your parents made all of these sacrifices, and you know, like, well, maybe like in your case, it was like, well, you're a doctor or a lawyer, like you're not going to be anything else, you know? And it's just like having to live up to like that expectation. I can understand how difficult it can be. I saw a TikTok recently that was talking about how like we focus on the wrong things for our kids. Like we want them to be good at everything, and we want them to be good at math. And if the kid is really bad at math, we're like, telling them like, no, you have to be good at this. You have to be good at all of the subjects that you're in school, instead of really focusing on the subject that they are good at. And the TikTok is basically saying like, you can have like the next Mozart on your hands if like they're really good at playing the piano, you know, or like you can have the next Einstein if you just enable them to like be good at what they're actually good at, versus like trying to force everything on them. And I think that's really, really big. And I think that that's what like our parents and grandparents lack, is that like they're just so focused on the money and like what you need to do to be successful, and what their definition of successful is, you know?
Which isn't wrong, you know? I think it's just, they were, at least for my parents, they were stuck on survival mode for like the longest time, you know? And like they didn't have a chance to really grow up and do what they wanted. It was just like, we left El Salvador, we came here, we had to hustle. My dad started a business, he had to hustle. And then that's all they really knew, you know? And then the business that we started is hard labor. So it was like, obviously I get it. So like when I think about it, it's like, obviously he doesn't want that life for me. Right. You know, so it was really hard for them to actually understand too when I dropped out of school, and they're like, why the fuck don't you want to be a nurse? And I was like, that makes really good fucking money. And now I'm over here struggling, and my dad sometimes like kind of doesn't throw it in my face like in a bad way. He's just kind of like, well, you could have been making so much right now. But I was like, but
at what cost, right?
Yeah, I think both things have a pro and a con, right? Like I either could have continued nursing and had a sick ass bank account right now, hating life, or right now I have a pretty good bank account, but you know, at least I'm like not as stressed, and the burnout is even worse now. I mean then, because now I'm like working 15-20 hour shifts, and like now I have all these passion projects that I want to do, because in reality I'm really creatively inclined. You know, I like doing this. I like photography, and I like editing. I'm just tired sometimes.
Yeah. I think it's hard. I think specifically like growing up in a Latino household, and just like being under that pressure of like, I think a lot of people also fall under this like, well, I have to help my parents now because like they did so much for me. And I think that's something that I've seen a lot in people around me too, where it's just like, well, why are you parenting the parent now? You know, or like why is it that you have to take care of your parent when like in reality, like that's the parent that should be taking care of their kids.
Until they die.
But it's tough. I for sure, like, I think it's just, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where it's just really hard. What am I trying to say? Like, I think it's very, very, I can understand why it was so hard for like you to finally grasp, like, it's okay that this is what I want to do versus like that, you know, because it's just so many years of like things that were ingrained.
It's a lot of deprogramming what you're just used to. And I mean, my situation's also different because there was verbal, physical abuse that I grew up with in my household. But when I decided to stop talking to my parents, unfortunately, it was one of the best decisions I ever made because I could actually physically detach from that narrative that I was being fed all the time of, you're just not good enough. And my dad would literally tell me sometimes, you're a waste of space by not using certain talents, doing certain things. And so when you have that in the back of your mind playing, it becomes 10 times harder. And I think that's what eventually leads to the burnout, because you're burnt out in this hamster wheel of just, well, he said I'm not good enough, so I got to keep trying and I got to keep doing and I got to keep changing and shifting. But it's been really healthy for me. And this is why I'm such an advocate that it doesn't matter whether you're related to someone or not. If there is something external, because you can control your internal to a degree and that's your responsibility. But if there's something external that's constantly just like really dragging you down in that way, get rid of it. Yeah. Like there are days I still cry myself to sleep because I miss my parents, and my mom is still one of the funnier people I know. My dad is fucking hilarious. When you catch him at the airport with the gliders, best human you'll ever meet. Anywhere else though, he's that really stern, Polish, like really hard-headed, stubborn, and it's impossible to like live a healthy life in the way that I know that I can live a happy life while I have that playing in my head. Like, nope, what you're doing is still not valid. It's not enough. It's not this. It's not that. So the year literally that I decided to stop speaking to them, I broke up with my fiance. I became a spin instructor. Like, so many things happened that same year. And that's not a coincidence. It's just this like deprogramming of, you know what, I'm actually going to physically take this thing and just put it in this box over here and close it. And like, I love them, but I love them better when I could just put that box in the attic and remember how much I love them. And that's it.
Well, and I think that just gave you the space to like actually find what you wanted to do, you know, and like truly live life for you. Yeah. Versus like trying to chase that expectation or like that, like what somebody else wanted for you.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but it really does come down to the rewiring, like you said. Yeah. And it's hard because I mean, you don't want to rewire your brain sometimes. You're just kind of stuck on that mindset for so long that it really does become
it's so many years
really hard to do. Yeah. But it's just and that I mean, not just with the parents. I mean, that goes with anybody, you know. It's just like set those boundaries all for yourself, you know, for your mental health more than anything, so you don't get that burnout. And that goes
full circle.
Yeah.
Started with mental health, ending with mental health.
And that goes for anything, not just like your parents. It could be work, it could be you know, anything else that's not letting you do the things that ultimately make you happy. Yeah. Like I said, well, I didn't say that, but I didn't say this yet. But when I sent you guys the notes,
what happened was,
what happened? Well, you see the way my bank account works is. But when I sent you guys the notes, I mean, my biggest highlight was like, if you wanted to be the best version of yourself or show the world your best version of yourself, you need to be able to set those boundaries and do the things that make you happy, that are going to fill that cup. You can't pour out of an empty cup.
Right. You can't.
And like whatever it is, whether it's work stress, whether it's family, whether it's your passion projects, if you don't kind of take a step back and take a breather, you're never going to see the bigger picture. And you're just going to keep getting hit left and right, because life fucking sucks, and you're going to keep getting fucking hit with whatever it is, whether it's bills, whether if it's your business is slow, whether if it's your podcast isn't fucking growing and you're constantly chasing that algorithm, Mario, stop.
Racism.
Vanity metrics, babe. Vanity metrics.
Whether if it's racism and people keep asking you if you're carry your passport, and now you're fucking scared for your life.
Even though I'm
Even though I'm an
citizen.
American.
Born and bred.
It's just, seriously.
Weird.
Still scared.
It's just take a step back and just take a breather, and I think that
Yeah.
was just the biggest lesson that I've had to learn. And even now with my dad, my family in general, despite them having their old mentality, I see them making the small changes now. I'd like to say it's because of me, but it's just now I see my dad kind of setting boundaries. Now it's like, now he does want to go out with just him and my mom versus everybody in the whole family. Yeah. Or he does just want to go out to dinner, just vibe, just him and my mom, just living and being present, which for the longest time I was like, wait, nomás sal con mi mamá, no te preocupes por nosotros.
Yeah.
And it did bring a lot of stress into his life. And now, now that I see him making those like small changes, it's like, yes, now I can make them too, because he won't be so hyper asphyxiated on me. It's just what it is. You can't pour out of an empty cup, and honestly, just do it for yourself.
I actually have a good tip for this. This is something as a health and wellness coach that I've implemented with a couple clients. Have you guys heard of the Artist's Way?
I've heard it, but I haven't.
Yeah, so it's a book and a workbook, and it's all about creativity. So for anybody...
You mentioned it. And
I've mentioned it before.
I was like, where did I hear it from?
So the Artist's Way basically is how to come back to your inner creative, because at the end of the day, everybody's creative, but we just lose ourselves along the way. Yeah. And one of the things that I recommend to clients a lot, which is going to help you weed out the things in your life that you don't need, it's called morning pages, but it comes from the Artist's Way. And what you do, I have a special journal that I dedicate to this because it's a very negative practice. And I was very adverse to it at first because I was like, that seems like a terrible way to start your day, like on a horrible foot. And then you're just like thinking about all this shit. So morning pages are, you wake up in the morning and you just write and bitch about everything. No tengo dinero. I can't do this. I wanted to do this. I missed this. Like you just complain and complain and complain until you cannot complain anymore. And I used to think if you did this at the beginning of the day that you'd like start your day off with just like negativity. But the whole point of morning pages is that you're actually getting out all the things that are creative blocks. Because at the end of the day, the reason that you're not sparking creativity is because there's these things, all this shit that's getting in your way. So then when you dump it all out onto a page, I've started to realize you can't really complain about it the rest of the day because you're like, oh, all right, fine. I already complained about it. I'll let it go. And then you do that every day. And after a couple months, you go back and you start to highlight what's like the one thing I continually bitch about. And if the one thing you continue to bitch about is your relationship, then you should probably exit that relationship. And if the one thing you complain about is money or your job, that's where you need to change. So it's actually a really cool practice. And tune in next week for our money episode.
Finances, guys. It's tax season.
But I think a lot of my people have found this really helpful just because when you give someone permission to complain, because everybody's like, don't complain, you're so blessed. Like you hear so much more of like the gratitude practice, which is also just as important. But I think it's also very important to pinpoint, to your point, like where can you start to eliminate those things? Like, I should be doing this. Oh, no, well, who said that you should be doing that? Is that one of the things you're bitching about? No, then okay, we're done complaining about that. You move on to the next thing. What's one thing that we can actually be constructive with here? So morning pages, highly recommend them. Get a separate journal for them. I have like my journal where I journal regularly. And then I have like my morning pages journal where if I'm feeling really cranky or I'm burnt out, I go to my morning pages and I just bitch. And sometimes it's really short and I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad today. And sometimes I'm like, shit, I cannot stop. And it's like 2 pages long, but highly recommend because you'll be able to see a pattern and then you'll know exactly where to localize that attention.
Okay, I really like that because I feel like for a really long time I was into like the 5-minute journing. And then I was like, all right, like
which
grateful.
I love.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. But like it got to the point where I was like, I'm
not
grateful for this
anymore.
No, it got to the point where I was like, I'm just grateful for the same things every morning because I don't know what else I'm grateful for, you know? So I was just kind of like out of things.
Or did it ever happen to you where you get to the nighttime portion? It's like, what's 3 things that happened today that you loved? And I'm like, I got maybe one.
One and a half,
then you're pissed going to bed because I'm like, my life coach was like, don't do it on those nights. Like, just
It
put it
defeats
down.
the purpose, clearly. Yeah.
I'm like, no, but I have to do it every day. I told myself I'd get myself a treat.
Okay. Yeah. Where
Yeah,
it's like,
so
what
that-
would make your day a good day today?
Right.
If I ate a crumble cookie.
What about the
Right.
chi master over here? What do you do anything?
I know. Give us a tip for burnout so we can close this out.
So we don't burn out on this podcast.
Well, I said it earlier. It's kind of just redirecting it to other things. Like I start thinking about like the
So since y'all don't
negative
listen.
stuff, and when I'm walking or running, like I'm just dumping everything out while I'm exercising. Or for me personally, when I play video games, I take my frustration on other people. Things like that. That's like my thing, right?
Yeah.
But or
Don't
just
play video games with Jesus. Got it.
The poor little 10-year-old is crying in his head.
But I mean, outside of that, like just the whole. But you even said earlier that you don't let people let them be. For me, it's like, just, okay, you do your thing. I'm gonna stay in my lane and goodbye.
I have heard that. Stay in your lane. There's less traffic there. I'm like laying on my horn over here.
In everybody else's lane.
I do not want to see you and my dad in the same car morning traffic. Fuck that.
No.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess there's always a lot going on, and I think that this past month March is really stressful for the majority of us in our family.
I think just the beginning of the year. in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah. First quarter. Do
Yeah.
not recommend.
And
0 out of 10.
yeah, March.
Second quarter.
Maybe.
Yeah, then
The
March.
sun is out longer.
March, I really feel it. It's like my dad's birthday, then my swagdad's birthday, then it's my birthday, then it's Bal's birthday, it's my ex-brother-in-law's birthday, and it's all this shit that we gotta do. This past week, I got a cortisol shot. I can't fucking move. It's like, and I really did feel like there was just so much going on that like I just didn't feel present. And these past few days, I've been going to work, and like in the morning in the van, like I'm just sitting there. Like not present at all, and I really want to be making conversation, but I just can't. I'm just like done.
Yeah.
I was gonna say give yourself something to look forward to, but you have a wedding, so
Yep.
technically
The ultimate.
you should be happy.
I feel like I keep shutting down Mario's dreams every time something comes up, and I'm like, no. Sorry.
Actually, getting sad because
You
Coachella
decided to
came out
get
with
married.
the Quasar set, and it's Alesso on Sunday, and then it's forgot who it is on Saturday. But I was like,
I'm
That's
not doing
you
Coachella
just-
this year.
I just remembered, like that's another thing I do. I always have something to look forward to. So, for example, I booked the cruise for next year. I'm like, all right, cool. I got a cruise ready to go. I'm like, I'm
Amazing.
just
A
gonna
lot
work.
of people say to do that though, or like they say
Yeah.
that you should always have a trip booked because like you at least have that to look forward to. So it looks like you're doing
I
the
like
right
that
thing.
plan.
I mean, I hope you're looking forward to our wedding. Should be what you're looking
anyways,
forward
guys,
to.
como siempre. No, Jesus has it pretty nailed down, pretty cool. And then honestly too, like don't move out of your house. Jesus has it like.
You have it all figured
He
out.
has it all figured out. He's still, and I don't mean this in the shady way. I was like, dude, you still living at home. You got it good.
To think I was about to move out.
cruises.
No.
Don't do
Don't
it,
do
bro.
it.
Don't even
Do
think
not
about it. Your
recommend.
next girlfriend, bro. Fuck her. Don't tell her.
Jeez.
Yeah, let's practice right now.
Until marriage, because
Yeah.
you can't do anything.
And even then-
you can't kiss them until after
Yeah.
marriage. Something like that.
The
I
fuck?
know. That's why
This is not a let them moment,
That's why
okay?
Selena
Yeah.
strayed from you, my friend.
That's why she chose Benny.
Necesita pa sus chicles.
Don't let her convince you to move out, Jesus. Don't do it. Then you get a dog.
No,
Then it's too late.
I'm waiting for my brothers to move out so I have more space.
I bet let's practice, Jesus.
can
I'm
build up.
It's like 18-year-old brother.
I'm the next love
Bro.
of your life. Let's practice. Hi. Hi. Love my life, Jesus.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to convince him to move out. Yeah, I like your beard and that you do 100 push-ups every day is so sexy.
Why do you sound Japanese or
Because he
something?
likes anime.
That's how they sound. And I didn't say I was into waifus.
Let's move out together. I know we've only been together 1 month, but I love you.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually find waifus annoying. So I'm just into anime, but just not for me.
See, wasn't that easy?
So there you go. I was convinced.
Convinced.
But yeah, guys, don't let burnout be burning you out. That's my
Bars.
that's my tip of the day.
Bars. that's a clip for sure.
Don't let burnout.
Don't let burnout be burn you out. Good night.
Mic drop.
At the end of the day, it's the end of the day, and tomorrow it's a new day.
Highway. Bars times 2.
Shit.
That's
I
not
keep
what I-
hitting this mic. This
Is the moment we're burning out on the podcast.
Now I remember why we switched these
Yeah.
mics. But sorry, Jesus. Sorry, future Jesus, when you're editing this. But but guys, honestly, la neta, take care of yourselves. Take care of
Yeah.
your mental health.
Find
It's-
things that you find joy in. Oh, that's the thing. You were talking about the morning
pages, yeah.
And I was thinking about this like trend that picked up on TikTok that it's like finding your spark or like refinding your spark. And I was like, okay, like I really like that because I feel like you said, like our creativity just kind of got like
Yeah.
taken away in our process of growing up. And like as a kid, you have so much creativity and such a big imagination and like you find spark in little things. And then you get older and kind of like the life just hits you, and takes that away from you. And I've seen this trend a lot where it's just like do something every day that like just like, helps you find your spark again. So it kind of reminded me
That's cute.
of that. Yeah.
I like that.
Sorry, that was the last thing I wanted to add about just,
Well, I think
to
you're-
help yourself
I
during
think, like,
burnout.
doing something that like kind of reminds you of your inner child. Like Bao bought me Legos for
Inner
Valentine's
child
Day.
work is so important.
Yeah. And like as much as I get frustrated with the Legos, I actually really do enjoy it.
I fucking loved Legos.
Yeah.
I had buckets of that shit.
Yeah. My dad would hella give me Legos. I would spend hours just building
Honestly,
little
ever
towers.
since we built those little cars, I'm like, okay, I want another one. Like it
Yeah.
helped just kind of like, I was telling my friends yesterday that I've just been wanting to look for things that like disconnect me from my phone. And when we got the Legos, like I feel like we didn't pick up our phones once during the time of
well, you
like
can't.
building the car.
just when we
Like,
needed the video instructions.
yeah, but like we were very just like very into the zone or like the painting, like the candle, things like that just kind of like take your attention away from your phone, because at the end of the day, like my phone's connected to my work and it's connected to life, just like emails coming in, notifications, other people, like the access of other people to me so easily, so just kind of like putting the phone down and knowing that like you're going to be concentrated on that, I think helps a lot too with moments that you're feeling like overwhelmed, or if you feel like you're hitting burnout, just finding things that help you get away from that feeling. Don't wait until you're already burnt out.
Yeah.
Try to
get
save
burnt out.
yourself.
Apply sunscreen.
Apply sunscreen.
Yes.
But
Wear a
anyways,
condom.
whoa.
Preventative measures.
And lift heavy, Kelly, so you can look like Hugh Jackman. But anyways, guys, I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up. We hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Let us know about our new kind of setup-ish that we got going on.
Casting
Told
couch.
you guys we're
Do I have
working
my
on this.
couch?
Things are gonna look a lot different next time, so enjoy this weird thing that we got going on. But anyways,
We're
guys,
working on it.
como siempre, live your best life, fight your fears. At the end of the day, the only thing that you regret are the things that you did not do. So vive con huevos, guys. We out of here. We love you. Peace.
Bye.
Live with eggs.